YouTube family, I know what it looks like, but it's not an extended stay gourmet video. I'm just making dinner for this evening. What's going on, Brother Wallace Wellens? I did see your comment. You left. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. Brother Wallace Wellens has always been a big fan of the extended stay gourmet videos. They're coming back. You know, I just kind of laid off from those videos to just kind of work on some other things, some other segments, and also those extended stay gourmet videos. They were just kind of a lot to make. You know, it took a lot of energy and planning to put those together. And, you know, I've just had a lot going on, you know, kind of working with some other video concepts. But the extended stay gourmet videos will be coming back. But that causes me to think about something as I was thinking about this video. Okay, so I had a number of things that I want to talk about in this video, but as I was thinking about what I was going to say and do this about, I just kind of came to the realization, and people have all kinds of opinions about, you know, my living space, living in an extended stay hotel, and you know, being in a relationship. You know, I think that's one of the biggest things that get some people about me living here in this extended stay hotel. And I've said it before, is the fact that I have a woman in my life. You know, and I think some of you all who watch my videos and make comments feel that, you know, I probably should not have the woman in my life living in an extended stay hotel. Okay, and you know, you all are entitled to your opinions, you know, but you know, like I've said before, and you all might see in some of the videos that, you know, I'm posting, me and Sanaya are living a pretty good life, you know. And here's the one thing that's been on my mind lately when I think about the state of my life right now, and that is I'm not wanting for anything. I'm truly not wanting for anything. You know, now once again, you know, if I could have a car, which I can have a car, but I'm not wanting for a car. I'm not wanting for a bigger place. I'm not wanting for lots of material items. I am wanting for more experiences. You know, so that's something that I'm wanting. But as far as material items, I'm not wanting for that. You know, I was thinking just earlier, just really, y'all, this video, I'm just kind of clearing my mind on some things. If you were to offer me, let's say, a $500 Louis Vuitton belt, just saying, a Louis Vuitton belt. I don't know how much a Louis Vuitton belt is, but if you were to offer me a $500 Louis Vuitton belt, or offer me a $500 gift card to Wegmans grocery store, which is a high-end grocery store, I'd probably take the gift card, the gift card to get, you know, some high end meats, vegetables, what have you. You know, and primarily because you can't eat a belt, you can't eat a leather belt. That's just something to keep your pants up, you know. But that's how I view things. That's how I view things right now. Is right now, I mean, I'm just looking at the simple things in life. But the other point I want to make is this, and I kind of got off on a tangent talking about where we live and comparisons and everything like that. The thing is this: I could not have the extended stay gourmet in a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, it wouldn't work. The name wouldn't work, and I think the name is catchy. Check it out, you all. The first concept for that came to me, and you all have seen the Blue Bucket Chronicles, where before I was living with Sharon, I was living in a rooming house. And I was like the chef. I was like the chef in the rooming house. I had 6 other guys living in that house with me, and we had one kitchen. The thing is, I had set me up a little, and that's why I'm so proficient. Why I'm so proficient with a toaster oven is because up on my floor, on the 3rd floor where I lived, I kind of set up something with a microwave and a toaster oven and crock pot. There was a kitchen on the 1st floor, but I lived on the 3rd floor. Okay, so sometimes to prepare a meal, I was going up 3-4 flights of stairs to prepare a meal. I mean, that's just what it was, you know. So what I did was kind of create something on the 3rd floor, you know, in the separate room that I had, where I can kind of prepare meals without having to go up and down those flights of stairs. Anyway, the name that I wanted to call that was, and I've always thought about doing YouTube videos, okay? Over the last 10 years, when I wasn't making YouTube videos, I was always thinking of concepts of what I would make YouTube videos about. And I was going to do videos called Rooming House Gourmet. You know? Rooming House Gourmet. Well, now that I live in an extended stay hotel, extended stay gourmet has a much better ring to it. You know, but just my feelings, you can't have an extended stay gourmet if you're not necessarily living in an extended stay hotel. You know, so I'm just saying this from the standpoint, this is one of the benefits that I've found based on where I live. You all get what I'm saying. You all get what I'm saying. Okay? And the thing is, you know, as I was making this, you know, ground in the ground beef for the tacos, I thought about Brother Wallace Wellens, because I imagine he's still a big fan of the extended stay gourmet videos, and he left a comment. He left a comment that didn't have anything to do with, you know, extended stay gourmet. He had a comment about the Blue Bucket Chronicles. Okay, let me see if I can find out. I messed up. Hold on one second. There it is. Brother Wallace Wellens, this was his comment. Saturday night gourmet chef, because that was fun food night. On Saturday nights was fun food. You all remember that. And like I said, we're gonna get back to them. We're gonna get back to the extended stay gourmet videos. Saturday night gourmet chef. I agree with you 100%. If me and the mother was getting married and she have a little girl, they can move in my house. Since I'm a provider, we just have to have a trust and talk. Got to have trust and respect. Okay, and he commented on the Blue Bucket Chronicles, chapter 11. And I wanna touch on that also from the standpoint. Look here, you all. Like I've said in the videos, I got into the relationship with Sharon with the intent of us getting married, because that's what I was looking for. But the other thing is this: I had known Sharon for years. It wasn't like we just met. We reconnected. Let's say it like this. We reconnected in 2017 when I moved into the rooming house. And like I said, she worked in a grocery store that was in walking distance from the rooming house. Okay, so just hang on. Sharon had only known me as a successful businessman. She had only known me as a successful businessman. When she first met me, I was running my own hair salon. Okay? That's how we got to know each other. I was her hairstylist back in 2007, 2008. And the way I had my hair salon set up, a lot of my clients would come in and they would just spend time just sitting and talking. Me and my clients would just sit and talk while I'm doing their hair. It was more about, when someone came to get their hair done, it was more about just sitting and talking and sharing ideas and all kinds of stuff like that. That's what me and Sharon had, But once again, I was going to say the pandemic, but the recession of 2007, 2008 hit, and I closed my hair salon, and we lost connection. We did not see each other again until I went in that grocery store and went to the deli department, and subsequently I had my fragrance oil display on me because I used to ride my bike. That's a whole nother story, y'all. Y'all gonna hear about my oil business and how it evolved. But anyway, I used to ride my bike and I had my fragrance oils on my bike. So when I went to the grocery store, I would take my fragrance oils off my bike and just carry them around with me in the grocery store, just put them on the cart, what have you. So when she saw me again for the first time after about 8, 9, maybe almost 10 years, I was still in business. And that day when we reconnected and she saw me for the first time, after that time, me closing my hair salon and everything, She bought fragrance oils that day. She bought fragrance oils that day. So once again, Sharon, up until the pandemic and me moving in with her, she had only known me as a successful businessman. Okay? Here's the thing. She trusted me. She trusted me to be around her daughter. She knew my kids. She knew my son. Okay? Because he used to be in the shop with me. So she knew my son. She knew I was a father. She knew I wasn't no irresponsible individual who was going to do some type of harm to her child. Okay? Now, once again, I do understand how some of you all women, like you all say, gave Sharon the side eye. Gave Sharon the side eye for, having me babysit her daughter, But, like I said, she knew me. It wasn't like I was a stranger, But, on another topic, I know y'all, I apologize, I'm shifting topics like this, but this was the main point I wanted to make with this video. So bear with me, y'all. I bought this ground beef from Kroger's, where I usually get my ground beef when I really want to make something special or something like that. What I use was, I got a pound of ground beef, I'm going to get to it, that I made a spaghetti. I made a spaghetti this past Sunday, and some barbecue chicken. It was a delicious Sunday meal, but I only used half a pound. This is the other half that I'm making tacos with. I went to Kroger's, and you all have heard me say this before. I went to Kroger's about a month ago to buy some fresh ground chuck. I went to the meat counter, and the meat display was black. It was dark. Okay, like it was shut off. And I said, hey, what's going on? Oh, the meat freezer's down. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So I just went on over to the regular and just got a regular pack of ground beef. It was still ground chuck, but it was in the cooler section. But I prefer to get the fresh ground chuck. So we let it go. I went back about 2 weeks ago to get some ground chuck. And it appeared that the meat cooler was operational, but they had pre-packaged items in the cooler, And I talked to the guy, said, hey, what's going on here, Oh, that's just where we're storing our prepackaged meats and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. So I went and got some from the cooler again. The prepackaged stuff. Well, I went back last week because I was getting some ground beef to make the spaghetti. And when I went in, I guess the guy was the manager, the meat department manager. And I said to him, I said, hey, what's going on with the meat? I said, you all aren't doing fresh ground chuck anymore? He said, no. Kroger no longer does fresh ground meat. He said, my job of cutting meat. A butcher. That's what you call someone, a guy who cuts meat in a grocery, a butcher. But he said, my job as a meat cutter is over. The only way you all are getting, ground meat, ground beef at Kroger's is in the packages. And that comes from a factory somewhere. And it's just delivered to the store. And the look on his face. As this man was talking to me, it looked like he wanted to break down and cry. Because he could look in my face and see that I was kind of shocked, like, wait a minute, I can't get fresh ground chuck anymore? Like I'm forced to buy the packaged stuff? And that's what he said. He said that the higher ups came to him and told him that the teenager cashier can now do his job. And he had told me that he had been working as a butcher for 40 years. For 40 years. And he looked like he was about my age, like he might have been in his 50s, maybe 60s. But the man looked like he wanted to cry as he was telling me his story. And it made me think about those of us who are Gen X. How so many of the things that we were raised to do, the professions that we've had, and the way that we were raised to see the future is, for all intents and purposes, being X'd out. Being X'd out for Generation X. It was, and just further, it reminds me also, just kind of on a sidebar, when, for those of you all who are familiar, in Atlantic City, the Borgata, when, MGM took over full control of the Borgata, they changed the Water Club. And some of you all that are familiar, you all know, the Borgata and the Water Club, those two properties, the Water Club had a mystique. There was a mystique about that property, separate from the Borgata. You all know what I'm talking about. Well, when MGM came in and took over full control, they turned, well, for one, they renovated the rooms, okay, and just changed the whole feel. And I'm not complaining. I'm not saying that it's bad right now. I think it's brighter. It's, it's more colorful, but the Water Club had this warm feel to it, that's gone. And I remember talking to a lady that she appeared to be a manager at the front desk. And I was just talking about, the different changes that were going on. And she said that she had been working at the Borgata, I guess 15, 20 years or so. Uh, yeah, about 20 years. I had to think when the Borgata opened up. Um, but she had been there pretty much when the place first opened. And now she was in a position of, management and what have you. And as she was telling me about the changes that were going on in the hotel, and, just this look on her face of sadness that things are starting to die and fade away. For those of us who are of Gen X, those of us that are in our 50s and our 60s are starting to witness the disintegration of what we might have built, the future that we might have seen for ourselves and seen for the world, seen for America, seen for our children, our grandchildren, is just fading and fading away. So that's what was on my mind, you all. I know this was kind of a long, drawn out video. Thank you all for watching. But as I was preparing this ground beef, Sanaya will be getting home before I do, so I wanted to make sure dinner was prepared when she got home. As I was making the ground beef, I just thought about these things, and I'm just sharing them with you all in room vlog, random room vlog. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I got to get to work. I got clients scheduled. I got clients in about a half an hour. So let me get out of here. Thank you all for watching this video. Have a great day. Be blessed and be a blessing.